Less than 24 hours ago in Murrieta, California, the raging and bitter fight over immigration reached a new low. 3 buses of migrant women and children escaping violence in Central America had to be flown to California to alleviate overcrowding at Texas border stations. But before they reached their intended destination, the buses were barred from entering the designated facility by flag-waving anti-immigration protesters. Protesters whose message was clear: we don't want you here. Those chants were accompanied by others, including "We want to be safe" and "Deport, deport." The anti-immigrant protesters were blocking the buses at the urging of the town's mayor, a man named Alan Long, who posted what he termed an illegal immigration update on his Facebook wall. According to Long's so-called update, Murrieta expects our federal government to enforce our laws, including the deportation of illegal immigrants caught crossing our borders, not disperse them into local communities. The mayor further comforted residents by noting that Murrieta will remain safe, a message that found a receptive audience among those blocking buses filled with women and children seeking a better life in the United States.
Right now, thousands of people are being allowed into our country illegally, and we're coming out here to voice our objection against that. They didn't come here legally. There's a legal process for coming into this country. I think there's just a lot of people who are finally upset with what's going on. We've taken things and taken things. We're finally ready to stand up and defend our community.
But the turmoil and the vitriol on display was not nearly enough to convince the far right that something needs to be done to reform the system. In fact, it may have done the very opposite. This is how Fox News covered the standoff in Murrieta.
We were just telling you about this. They are fed up.
Defending the homeland. According to the Wall Street Journal editorial board, the televised sight of chaos on the border has been a godsend to GOP nativists. In the meantime, the buses were forced to turn around and head back to San Diego. As for their next destination, the LA Times reports that, citing safety and security considerations, federal officials are declining to discuss what's next for the 140 immigrant detainees. Today, the National Border Patrol Council says that the approximately 140 women and children have been relocated to 4 other facilities in California, places where we can only hope they saw a different side of the United States. Joining me now is anchor of Telemundo's Noticiero and host of Enfoque, Jose Diaz-Balart, and president and CEO of the Council of La Raza, Janet Murguia. Janet, let me start with you. I am shocked when you see the footage of these furious crowds yelling "Go home, go home." I I will say personally, I found it to be a shameful moment to be an American, to see people treated like that. People who are seeking a new day here in America. What is also confounding to me is that these people apparently are able to dictate deportation policy insofar as 150 anti-immigrant protesters turned these buses around. What was your reaction to it?
Well, I agree with you, Alex, that it is appalling and outrageous to see that this group of extremists and really landing themselves as vigilantes were able to control an outcome here, determine an outcome. We have to honor a process. These buses were filled with women and mostly children. Children who are escaping violence and gangs in their home countries. And as Americans, whether we're white, black, or brown, we have to really lean into our values here and understand that we would never slam the door shut on a child who was afraid and crying at our doorstep. That's not how we react as Americans. And what I'd like to believe, and what gives me hope, is that what we saw in that situation, Murrieta, is really a group of extremists who do not represent the vast majority of Americans who understand that these are children in need of care and safety, and that there is a process, both the domestic laws and international laws, that need to be honored. And we can do that as Americans. I think we can embrace that.